Hello everybody, this is Zoe from No Safer Place, and today I'm going to be doing another one of my Worth the Hype videos. If you're not familiar with these videos, I take a book that has been really hyped up and tell you if I think it is worthy of the hype surrounding it. The book I'm going to be talking about today is one that I have been excited for a while. It was only the second one coming out that made me pick up the first and realise how excited I was for it. And I read the first and I enjoyed it. It was a good book, but it wasn't mind-blowing and I didn't come away feeling like, wow, that was fantastic. But I know that the author had talked a lot about the second one and how much she had grown with this book, so I was so excited to see where it had taken her and to see how much her writing has improved. So the book I'm going to be talking about today is Wilde About the Girl by Louise Pentland. Now, if you don't know Louise, she is a sprinkle of glitter over on YouTube. She is a massive vlogger and she is just absolutely incredible. I went to the Wilde About the Girl book event in London, which was with Carrie Hope Fletcher for her latest book, When the Curtain Falls. I hadn't read it at this point. I picked up this copy at the event. Came home, blitzed through the first one, thought it was okay, and then got started on this one. Now, firstly, I just want to say how amazing it is to watch an author grow. As I say, her first one I enjoyed but wasn't blown away, whereas this one I came away feeling like so much had changed and everything about her writing had got better. Her descriptions were better, the humour was better, the storyline was better, the plot flowed well, just everything about it tied together just made it so much better than the first. Although it's a sequel, you don't have to read the first one, Wilde Like Me, first, so if you do just want to jump straight into the second, Louise recaps enough of the first for you to understand what's going on, so it's not a must. Obviously, if you want a better background of the characters and how they ended up in the place that they are now, I would advise reading the first. Also, if you haven't read the first and don't want any spoilers as to what's happened in the first, I would recommend not watching this video because obviously some of the things I say will be spoilers for the first book because I can't not avoid it whilst talking about it and reviewing it. The main thing I loved about this book is that it felt so raw and genuine. Like, if I could describe this book in one word, it would definitely be raw. Just so much about it seemed realistic. There was nothing that seemed kind of forced or dramatic or unbelievable. Everything just tied together so amazingly. Something else is, now this is a strange thing because obviously it's a book and you want a storyline, but for me, because this book felt so realistic, it didn't feel like there was a storyline or a main outcome or a goal like you usually feel when you read a book. For example, if you read a romance novel, you know that there is going to be a big happy love story at the end of the novel and that's what you're building up to. And most books have that kind of premise. You are working up to an event and you're excited for that event. But this just felt like almost reading like an autobiography because it was just so real. It just felt like this could be the person down the street's book because it just felt so relatable. Robin is just a 29-year-old mum who is just trying to get by. She obviously struggles sometimes and she's just going through the ups and downs that come with life as a single mum. Robin is a makeup artist and she has worked her butt off to get where she is now, and that is another thing I love about this book, just the empowerment of women. But Robin has just been promoted in her job and she's really having some self-doubts. So she doesn't feel like she's good enough. She wonders if there's other people in her job who would be better suited to what she's doing, and she really worries and feels that she is not good enough in any aspect of her life at the moment, but especially her job. She starts to feel empty. She calls it the emptiness capitalized because she feels like she doesn't have this traditional family unit which everyone else seems to have around her, and she is desperate to just have someone to lay beside her at night and help her with the little things. And after the first book and it not ending quite as she wanted it, she is just feeling really downtrodden. So this book is kind of Robin's discovery and finding out what she wants to do in life now and finding out what she really wants to achieve rather than putting all that pressure on to finding a man. Another thing I love about this book is there's so many sprinkles of Louise in Robin, and you can really see Louise's personality shining through in not just Robin, in all of the characters, and I really love that. I know a lot of people don't like authors putting their personalities and their traits into books. I think a lot of people only feel like that because most of the time you don't know the author. But people like Carrie Hope Fletcher and Louise Pentland, you know their lives so well because they have it in front of us on YouTube, and normally you wouldn't see an author in that light. So I'm assuming that all authors do that and we just don't know it. Now, one thing discussed in this book, I know that it's a little tiny bit of a spoiler, but if I don't say who the characters are or who it happens to, I don't feel like it's a spoiler. It's just a topic discussed in this book. It discusses miscarriage heavily. Now, I've seen miscarriage be portrayed in books before, and having gone through a miscarriage myself, I really struggled with some of the descriptions and reactions and ways that things were worded. But this book, honestly, I have never felt like someone has got me more. I feel myself getting emotional now because obviously miscarriage was and still is such a huge part of my life, and that's what I want to thank Louise for, because this is probably the rawest part of the book, and I read it through glazed eyes throughout because it was just that emotional, that intense, and it wasn't sugar-coated, it wasn't fluffed up, it just showed a miscarriage as what it really is, and that is losing a baby. And you can be made to feel guilty if you're still suffering years on. It's nearly been 4 years for me and I'm still suffering, and I still think about that baby every day, and this book kind of made it feel like it was okay to still feel like that. It doesn't matter, because once that happens, your life has changed forever. And it was just so great to have that kind of validation. And I know that seems silly, but because it's such a taboo topic, hearing someone talk about it and feel that same way as you and reassure you that it's okay to feel like that is honestly the most amazing thing. So thank you so much, Louise. It also discusses family dynamics a lot, which I absolutely love. That, I feel, is also another kind of taboo topic. It's never really discussed in detail about how both sides feel and how lonely it can be, and how you don't just need to have the traditional mum, dad and child unit, which I feel like too many books have. And just reassuring that if you are a single parent, or if there is an aunt helping or a godmother or anyone like that, it's okay. And just because it's not normal for some people, it doesn't mean it can't be normal for you. There's so much discussion about loss and change and new dynamics in family, in particular bringing new men into your child's life. And I don't mean new men as in your partners, but other people in your family's partners, and how that can be tricky and ways to deal with that. And I just thought that was such a believable part of the book, especially having gone through that myself and watching my niece and nephew go through that. It was just really interesting. The interactions with Lila, now Lila is Robin's child, are just utterly my favourite part of the book by a long shot. Even though Lila's young, she is kind of Robin's support system, and you can really see how much Lila helps her and keeps her strong and keeps her going. And having experienced that with my own mum, I just thought those moments were just absolutely beautiful. And obviously there were some really funny, awkward moments. It isn't just happy moments, there are some bad ones, and I just absolutely loved how realistic those moments were too. As I say, I absolutely adored this book. It was just bloody brilliant. I just think it was so much better than the first. And then as a side note, once I'd finished this book, I logged on to YouTube and watched Louise's most recent video on self-doubt. I will leave that linked below if you want to go and check it out. It's a very emotional one. And at that moment, I kind of saw Robin oozing out of her, and I feel like I could see Louise's insecurities that she had written in the book and put on Robin. Just that Robin is this fantastic, hard-working, amazing woman, that she doesn't see how absolutely brilliant she really is and how much everyone around her loves her. And I just felt like that is the massive similarity between Robin and Louise, and I just think Louise should never feel like that, because honestly, She has 2 kids and she runs this mini empire, and she is just incredible. And Robin is the same. I absolutely think she's fantastic. And I feel like we need more Robin and Louises in the world. But do I think this book was worthy of the hype? Abso-friggin-lutely. I can't express how amazing this book is. As I say, it's not YA, so it's slightly different from what I usually read, but I do like to go out of my comfort zone sometimes, and especially when it leaves me as pleasantly surprised as reading this. If you've read this book, let me know what you think in the comments below. I know books written by YouTubers can cause slightly differing opinions sometimes, so make sure you leave a comment below and let's get chatting. I hope you all have enjoyed this video. Let me know what you would like to see more of on my channel, and I hope to see you all again soon. Thank you. Bye.